If you identify as a creator or entrepreneur, there is a high chance that you have struggled with or are struggling with being content with your life. Now, it's not as bad as it sounds. Let me explain. I'm sure of this, that you have no lack of ambition, or else you wouldn't even have clicked on this video, right? You would not be a part of this community. But if you are trying to build a brand that pleases God and serves people, you don't want to fall into the trap of selfish ambition, an ongoing cycle of never quite being satisfied, always thinking about what's next and what could be better tomorrow, obsessing over certain outcomes, or constantly strategizing on how to achieve an ideal goal, chasing some feeling of accomplishment that never truly happens. I've been there, and we don't want that. You don't want that. But it's hard because we live in a world that literally thrives. Literally. It thrives off our awareness of lack in our lives. You are constantly being bombarded with reminders of who you are not, what you don't have, and what others do have. Quite honestly, if every person in the nation just began to focus on what they had instead of what they don't have, the whole American economy would collapse, completely implode. Like it would tank. The whole economy is based off an insatiable appetite for more. But I digress. So we understand that. But on the other hand, the scriptures say that those too lazy to plow in the right season have no food at harvest. That's Proverbs 20, verse 4. And of course, Proverbs has a lot of proverbs about laziness and work. And it's clear that work is not looked at in a bad way. So we know that work is good, but putting our trust in our work, we understand, is not good. So we want to strive to be like Paul in Philippians 4:11-13, where he says, "For I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength." But I'm always going to be practical on this podcast. The real question is how? Sway, how do I do that? Because saying that is one thing, but actually being able to do it and actually be content no matter what your situation is actually pretty challenging. Well, let's first begin with an understanding of what discontentment is. Discontent originates from two primary sources: effort and entitlement. Effort, you just haven't done your best. There was a lack of effort. And entitlement, you feel like you deserve something because of how hard you worked. So I'm going to cut straight to the chase, and then I'm going to explain my cut to the chase after I say the chase. Here's the solution. Stop being lazy and remind yourself that every waking thing you have is a gift from God. You deserve nothing. In fact, you deserve to be turned to dust. So you should be grateful that you aren't getting what you deserve. Now, I'm going to backtrack now because I know that was harsh. First of all, I want to say I'm not calling you lazy. I don't think you're lazy. Lazy people don't listen to this type of podcast. But I do not want you to be a victim of not putting in enough effort. Now, I also don't want you to be a victim of an entitlement mindset, which is so easy to slip into because of the type of media and influences and voices that we see every single day. But your eyesight, gift. Your touch is a gift. Taste, gift. Your relationships, gift. Your influence, your impact, your income is a gift. Every single thing you have on this earth is a gift. You deserve none of it. Now, of course, this goes against the culture's way. This is the kingdom's way understanding that he owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Everything you have, he owns, but he gave it to you to manage. That paradigm shift changes how you look at your situation. It changes the swiftness we can fall into discontent. Okay, so we got that out the way. We have an understanding that we should work at everything as unto the Lord, to give our best all the time, point blank, period. That's it. We should always give our best. Remove the chance for a lack of effort to be the catalyst of your discontent. Just take that off the table. Just give it your all, give it your best that you have in that moment. Now that's going to go up and down, right? Consistency doesn't look like this. It goes like this, but it keeps going. That's the point. It's consistent with it, keep going. It's not like level. Give the best you can on that day, in that moment. Take that effort part of the discontentment off the table. And then secondly, continually living in a posture of thanksgiving, because you understand that God is sovereign and everything you have, literally everything you have, is a gift. You are already blessed. Already, especially if you live in a first world country. Like, it's ridiculous how blessed we are. You realize when it says seek first the kingdom of God, right? And he's talking about all these things should be added unto you. You know what all these things is? He said it prior in that chapter, Matthew chapter 6. He said food and clothing. Shelter wasn't even in there. Your house is extra. You said you will have food and clothing. And that's really all you need. Your iPhone, your iPad, your AirPods. Come on, guys. Extra favor. That's what that is. Blessings. All right. So the next thing we need to address is how to actually maintain this balanced sense of intensity in a sustainable way. Because let's face it, one of the main reasons you don't give maximum effort in situations isn't because you are unmotivated. I know that. Visionaries are not unmotivated. It's most likely because you are unclear. It is hard to go anywhere fast when you are confused. And this lack of clarity stems from fear. You're asking yourself questions like, what if it doesn't work? What if I can't stick with it? What if it flops? Is this sustainable? Is this scalable? Will I get a return on my investment? What will people think if I change my mind? Will my employer see this? What if I commit to the wrong thing? What if I waste my time and resources? All these things are going on in your head, making you fearful of moving forward. And it makes you confused. You have such a lack of clarity, and it stops you dead in your tracks. Fear. It's all fear. And these fear-driven expectations, assumptions, and anticipations seed doubt in your mind, which leads to a lack of clarity. Here's the equation for clarity and for confusion. A decision plus faith equals clarity. A decision plus doubt equals confusion. Because really all you're doing is making a decision. At the end of the day, you are only one decision away from your success. You're only one decision away from your detriment and demise. Everything you do in life is just you're making a whole bunch of decisions on a daily. But a decision coupled with faith, that's clarity. A decision coupled with doubt, that's confusion. And this does not impact whether it's going to actually work or not. But just like you could be very clear on a wrong decision. Very clear. And you could be dead wrong. But the clarity allows you to execute it and realize that you made a mistake, and you can learn from it and adjust and adapt and pivot and then do the right thing that brings you the success. But a decision plus doubt equals confusion. You end up doing nothing. You end up doing nothing, or you end up half doing everything. And this leads to what I'm going to talk about. What the whole point of this episode is going to be one phrase. The one phrase I want you to remember after you leave from listening to this episode. I'm about to share it with you in a few seconds. So we understand that effort and entitlement can lead to discontent. These are the two primary factors. And a lot of this stuff comes from a lack of clarity, which is really just fear. And this comes from a decision plus doubt. You've made a decision on an idea that you want to do. You've had this thing that's in your head that you possibly want to execute. You think it could work for you, but there's doubt seated in there. And now you are confused because you're asking all the questions that I stated before. Will it work? Will people think something of me if I change my mind? Is this sustainable? Is this scalable? Will my employer see this? Will I get fired? All these different things. But how can I add faith to my decisions when I don't know if it's the right decision? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. And here's the answer. And here's the sticky statement that I want you to walk away with for this episode. Prove that it can fail. Prove it can fail. You're probably looking at me like, what, bro? What is he even talking about? It's like that Russell Westbrook meme.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yes, every ounce of anxiety that you feel as a visionary is an assumption. Literally every single one. Every ounce of fear you feel as a visionary is an assumption. You think your idea can fail, but you don't know. You don't know. Prove it. Prove it can fail. This will change your life, guys. Like once I made this pivot in my head, the level of clarity I had, because I was like, oh, I just have to prove it won't work. I'll explain this. I'll explain it. Just hold on with me, guys. Prove it. One of the best questions we can ask ourselves, not only as visionaries, but as human beings, is how do I know that? Ask yourself that question so much more. How do I know that? Most of the time, we don't know. We're making a guess, an assumption, a gut move, an emotional expression, a proactive proposition because we are scared of something. But we truly don't know because we never decided to objectively prove it. You can add faith to your decisions by proving them. All you need is enough faith to prove that it won't work. That's all you need is enough faith to prove that it won't work. Just do the thing and prove that it won't work. That can please all the doubt that you want to have in your mind, but have faith first. Prove that the idea can fail. And here's why I say that. Because the only way you can prove that an idea can fail is by exhausting every single option and leverage point you have that exists to make it succeed. That's the only way you can prove it could fail. You have to exhaust every option there is to make it succeed. Until you have done that, you simply don't know whether it will work or not. And I can tell you from personal experience, one of the biggest sources of discontent is the perpetual instant replay in your mind saying, what if I went all in? What if I followed all the way through? What if I stuck with it just a little longer? Those types of questions will drive a visionary insane, and it leads to high levels of discontent. You don't know you have failed until you've exhausted every option for success. And what I have seen through my own experience and through others is that success is not as far away as you think. Most likely, it won't take you exhausting every possible option for success in order for you to find it. Most likely. You could be one strike away from gold. One of the best quotes I've ever heard is, the root of all unhappiness is misaligned expectations. Yeah, play that back. Run that, replay that. The root of all unhappiness is misaligned expectations. Stop predisposing your expectations with anxious assumptions about failure. But also, stop predisposing your expectations with thoughts of immediate success and getting it right on the first try. Both are insane. Literally, both are completely illogical. But we do this. It's human nature. I'm not blaming you, but I'm just trying to make you aware of how insane that is. Stop doing this to yourself. And I'm speaking with this passion because I've been through this. It's a constant battle, but it's for your good if you get on the other side. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar once said, I think the good and the great are only separated by the willingness to sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice your anxiety on the altar of your purpose? Are you willing to sacrifice your desire for quick success on the altar of your purpose? Are you willing to sacrifice looking like you have it all together right now on the altar of your purpose? And your purpose is just to serve people and please God with what he's given you. So if you want to just say, oh, I don't know what my purpose is, I just told you. That's it. All your purpose is to just serve people and please God with what he's giving you. If you're doing that, you are operating in your purpose. Now, of course, yeah, you might have a unique purpose, but like that's what he's giving you. Use it to serve people and please God. And if you're using it to serve people, you most likely will be pleasing God as long as your heart's right. So just demystify that for you. Now, if you have questions, you can always go to buildyourvisionpodcast.com and send me a voice note question, and I will do my best to respond to that on the podcast or to you directly. So anyway, yeah, your purpose is just to serve people and please God with what he's given you. And one of the best ways to do that is to make a decision to pursue your idea that won't leave you alone. That idea that I always say good ideas come and go. Right? You won't want to let go of a good idea, but a God idea won't let go of you. I'm talking about that idea. Take that idea and couple it with the faith that it can only fail if I don't do my part, because God is already going to do his. Have that faith. The only way it can fail is if you don't show up. The only way it can fail is if you don't prove it can. The only way it can fail is by you not exhausting every option for it to succeed. Stop saying that the course didn't work for you. No, you did not follow the instructions. You lacked effort. Stop saying that podcasting doesn't work. No, you did not follow through on what you were supposed to do to make a podcast work. You didn't learn how to work it, or you did not stay consistent with it, or you did not stick with it long enough. And you have this expectation, this entitlement that you should be succeeding because you're working hard. You deserve nothing. Do the craft because it serves somebody. And if you do that and show up every time with the faith that God's going to do his part, you will be okay. This is what leads to discontentment, guys. Put in the work. And don't expect to get rewarded because you just worked hard. Put in the work because that's what visionaries do. That's what creators do. They create. They're trying to serve somebody with something that they made. Hey, I made this. I hope it brings you value. That's what the mission is of a creative. That's what the mission of a visionary is. Stop getting caught up in this cycle. It does not help you. The media will try to tell you, oh, you should do this and this outcome should happen and blah, blah, blah. Yes, if you do the inputs, you can expect predictable outputs. That's a principle of the earth. But don't get stuck in this discontentment cycle because you're comparing your outputs to their outputs, or because you just try to make your own thing. Like I see, oh, how should I do a podcast? And I tell people and they're like, oh, okay, come back later. So did you do it? Oh, it didn't work for me. Well, what did you do? Not follow the instructions. Oh, I did this. I felt like that wouldn't work, so I did it this way. Well, that's why I failed. You didn't put in the effort because it was hard. What I told you to do was hard. I've done this before. You know how much money I've wasted on classes and courses because I just didn't follow the instructions? Stop blaming it on the thing. Stop getting stuck in this cycle of discontentment. Prove that it can fail. Prove that it can fail. And if you prove that it can fail, then you can objectively say it doesn't work. But if you exhaust every option for success, most likely you will succeed. This is not a sexy message, guys. But I just see it so often. I got so frustrated with it myself. And once I actually started following through and putting in the effort and not expecting anything, not having expectations just or entitlement just because I worked hard. Things started working. It's weird. Weird how that works. Don't let discontentment rob you of the joy that comes from being a visionary creator. Just don't let it happen. Do your best not to let it happen. Of course, part of this is prayer. Like, you got to pray for the Holy Spirit to keep you on the straight and narrow so you don't start adopting the fruits of this world, but you keep the fruits of the Spirit. But give your maximum. Give your maximum effort, and remember that everything you already have and everything you will have is a gift from God. Prove that it could fail. That's it for me, guys. I'll talk to you next time. Keep building your vision every single day. Peace.